Joining us on the program right now, I am very pleased to have with us NRA ILA's Wisconsin State Liaison, Mr. Brent Gardner. Brent, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Cam. I'm actually standing in my backyard in Falls Church, Virginia, watching exactly what you've been talking about this evening. So, yeah.
Have you been able to see it?
Just once. Yeah, we saw a little bit earlier tonight.
Wow, that's very cool. I've been running out during our breaks and looking to the north, but I think I'm looking right at Washington, D.C., so I think the lights are getting in my way. But that's very cool. Well, congratulations, and if you see one again, take a picture.
We'll try to
and
do that.
show me. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about what's going on in Wisconsin, where they probably are able to see the Northern Lights tonight as well. I know that Friday the Department of Justice released the list of states that will have reciprocity with Wisconsin, 25 states in all. Have you had a chance to look over the list, Brent?
We've gazed over it. Certainly, as with many of the issues that we faced in Wisconsin, we have some questions about certain states that were left out, but certainly, Wisconsin residents who for so long have experienced an inability to have reciprocity in any state, 25 is a good start, and hopefully once we have an opportunity to continue to work with the folks up there, we'll be able to expand that to even more.
What is the what's the criteria for establishing reciprocity, or is it up to the DOJ?
Well, actually, in this case, DOJ's rules expressly stated that it would be based upon whether or not a state had a similar check to what they have there in Wisconsin. And the standard that they were going to use was a NICS check. So states that expressly have a NICS check in their policy as far as guiding whether or not someone receives a permit will have that. You take a state, though, like Virginia, for instance, that has a point of contact state, but that point of contact also uses a NICS check in addition to what their local check is. Those states should be included. And hopefully once we bring that to the attention of the Department of Justice out there, we'll be able to get states like that back onto the reciprocity.
Okay. Now, I saw as well a lot of talk in Wisconsin papers about the National Rifle Association's unhappiness, let's say, over the regulations for getting a concealed carry license that have been issued by the Wisconsin DOJ. I know the last time that you and I talked, Brent, you said that the legislature is going to have an opportunity this session to actually go and write the formal rules, because what we've seen from the Wisconsin Department of Justice are these emergency rules that were put forth.
That's true. And Cam, you know just as well as I do, when papers talk about the National Rifle Association being upset about something, they're referring to the organization here in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
What they fail to realize is when they talk about the NRA being upset, they're talking about members in Wisconsin, gun owners who are disappointed by the way that these rules were written. And we know that altogether too well, because those folks know our phone number and they call us and they send us emails and they let us know that they're unhappy. And I think they certainly are. The legislature is going to have an opportunity to try and fix some of the errors put forth by the DOJ here, and certainly they're going to have that opportunity upcoming once the rules take effect here on November 1st. And it's my belief that a lot of these legislators who fought so hard for this law for so long are going to want to take advantage of that opportunity and ensure that the rules that are promulgated they keep true to the law. And, I think a lot of them have expressed an interest in doing so, and they will have that opportunity. I think it's important for Wisconsin residents and individuals in Wisconsin to contact their legislators and continue to encourage them to avail themselves of that process and ensure that we keep that law as it was intended.
Yeah, and I've got a question. Ron, one of our listeners from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, had written in, and I noticed this was also mentioned in an article in the Post-Crescent, which I believe is from Appleton, Wisconsin. They said they mentioned something about completion certificates signed by the instructors. Ron had sent in a talk back a while ago talking about the requirements that the Attorney General has actually issued on these training certificates. A lot of information, Ron says, may not be what is customarily used on these training certificates. Have you run into this as well?
Man, sure have we, Cam. I'll tell you, unfortunately, some of the information required on there is information that's required to be on a permit that none of us in ILA have ever taken a course whose certificate meets those expectations initially. It requires the address or the location where the training took place, the number of hours, a sworn statement from the person who gave the class, the number of hours contained in the class. A lot of folks and anyone that I've talked to, their initial certification and the certificate they receive from their class does not include this information. So one of the things we're going to be looking for the legislature to address immediately is that concern, because folks who've gone ahead and have received this training and have done what's required to be able to get their permits should be able to have that honored by the same or similar standards that have been received in all of the other states. I mean, certainly Wisconsin is the 49th state. There's a lot of opportunity to look to what other states have done, seen what was successful, and certainly the permits and the certificates used to receive those permits, there's a lot of precedent to use. So we're really hoping that we have an opportunity here very quickly after implementation on the 1st to correct these things and give folks who've really gone ahead and done what they need to do to get these permits an opportunity to get them.
All right. Now, I've got one more question from one of our listeners, Dan, who lives down in Florida, but he goes back to Wisconsin almost every year, and he says when he does visit Wisconsin, he says he's boating much of the time. So here's a question out of left field for you, Brent. Dan wonders, can I carry concealed in or on my boat on any lake or waterway in Wisconsin like I can carry anywhere else in public on land?
With a concealed carry permit?
Yeah.
Yeah, with a concealed carry permit, he will be covered.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I kind of thought I'd stump you on that one, Brent. I'm impressed.
We included that in the law. We wanted to make sure that was included. Also, private aviation. I mean, there's a host of things in there. People should really take a look, at this law. It does quite a bit. Folks in Wisconsin should be very proud of this law. And though at the end here, we're kind of upset by a lot of the provisions that were put forth by DOJ. We covered a lot of the big things that NRA works for over a period of years, and that's parking lot protection, ensuring that employees are not kept from keeping a locked firearm in their motor vehicles, and ensuring that public grounds, like college campus grounds, not necessarily the buildings those can be posted, but are protected, so that way individuals can exercise this right and be able to defend themselves with, as much flexibility as possible. So it's a great law.
Have you run across, Brent, at this point, any municipalities that are trying to overstep the boundaries of what they're allowed to do in terms of posting places to be off limits?
Sure can. And yeah, I mean, just like we've seen every time these concealed carry laws have come to fruition, a lot of folks have panicked right off the bat, and some of them have taken knee-jerk reactions to this. And to be honest, there are some municipalities who've done a great job of saying, we do not want to restrict the rights of our citizens to be able to do that. But certainly we've seen some instances where municipalities and local governments have attempted to preclude their folks from being able to carry in those public buildings and having the inability to carry in places where sometimes people have to go, visiting their local government to pay their taxes or to stop by and see an elected official. Certainly the big thing right now at this point is ensuring that people are active in their communities, ensuring that they're contacting their county commissioners and the folks who make these decisions, and ensuring that they don't make a bad decision to begin with. What we're hoping we'll see in Wisconsin, like we've seen in other states, is after this law has been enacted, the initial, fright of what might happen doesn't come to fruition, and people are law-abiding citizens out there and who act responsibly, that these municipalities will take action to reverse their policies. And, we've seen that in other states, and I have no reason to believe that in Wisconsin people won't do the same thing.
I hope so. Well, listen, Brent, I don't know if we'll have you back on again before November the 1st, but I think we're going to have you back on November the 1st when Right to Carry goes into effect in the Badger State.
Sounds great. It's going to be a very proud day for all NRA members, and it's going to be the first time that folks in that state are going to have an opportunity to begin to apply, to go out there and exercise their constitutionally protected right to defend themselves and their families. So it's an exciting day for all of us and an exciting day for the people of Wisconsin.
Absolutely. Been a long time coming. Brent, thank you again, sir, and look forward to talking again next week.
Thanks, Cam. You have a great night.
You too, sir. Brent Gardner, NRA ILA's Wisconsin State Liaison, joining us here on Cam and Company.